My name is Akram Khan, I'm a choreographer. However, I'm not the choreographer of this new piece my company is doing, which is called Chotto Xenos. It's directed by Sue Buckmaster. For me, what's really important is to make work that resonates not just with children, but with adults too. But at the same time, for me, it's really important, especially with Chotto Xenos, that we tell another perspective of history. I have children, Sayuri and Kenzo, who is my daughter and son, who are very small. And for me, when I make the work, I'm making it for them, because I want them to not study a lie. I want them to see and witness through art, through dance, through theater, through mime, the stories of the other. And when I say the other, I mean, it's really important that we have a 360 perspective of our history. And especially since this piece is based on the First World War and colonial soldiers, I implore and beg the parents to really invest in their children, listening to stories and seeing stories and experiencing stories that is not just from history books.
In my own work as an artistic director of theatre rights, for the last 10 years, all the shows that I do are taking a difficult subject, maybe you wouldn't naturally think was child-friendly, and adapting it in a way that they can enjoy it. So I thought World War I, the colonial soldier story, I can do it, but I will need to address what it is I can still protect from the original Xenos, but put into Chotto Xenos. It was almost like having lots of things taken away to start with. Then I thought, what can I put back in to help young people understand this subject? We need to tell them this narrative that's been buried, and we also need to give them imagery, because if they haven't seen any colonial soldiers, what they looked like, what they wore, how can we ask them to imagine them? So that's when we brought a film artist in. So instead of having the live musicians, I said, let's bring in a film artist, which is Lucy Cash. And that's what I wanted Lucy to do with the imagery of the colonial soldiers, to collage a film together so that our audience, in one case, get to know who we're talking about, but also get to see it from another angle and maybe be inspired to make their own visual art interpretations. I want to help the audience, I want to help them train their eye to understand what dance is, because some of them, it may be the first dance piece they've ever seen. I want them to understand where the choreography has come from, and I want them to start to reflect on the idea of war. Why do it is really because I think children are exposed in reality to war more frequently now. We do have many refugee children amongst us. Or it's social media imagery, and so they're exposed to information overload about it. So we need to give them art to reflect on it, more than we ever had done before. But by the end of the show, I want to be asking, is it time for the Empire to change its tune? Literally, for the gramophone to find difficulty in turning off its record, in actually learning, as we all need to learn, that this story needs to be told in a different way, and different people need to tell the story.
In many situations there is this sense of lifting, almost like playfulness of the dancers, which is very much appealing to the kids' way of seeing the world. The movement was taken from Xenos, from Akram's body, and obviously with two different bodies, the material has to be revisited and recreated almost. I find it so fascinating to work hand in hand with Sue and find the psychology behind every single movement. With Chotto Xenos, we are making new outfit using the first inspiration. So it's Xenos, and even more we're going deeper with the psychology of each movement and what it means to perform that movement or that series of movement in this specific context of Chotto Xenos. So it's been like having four eyes, trying to sort meanings out.
Working with sushi has really provided like an 8-year-old's mentality. I've really been focused on the physicality of like the movement and stuff, but really in reality, it doesn't really matter. It's what the kid will remember. It's the action. It's the play. It's a lot of brain work. It's a lot of every decision has to make sense. It has to tell a story, or it has to follow a narrative. And just the simplest of moves still has a big effect. So I'm being challenged in really absorbing every single moment, which actually does also relate to how I should be thinking about dance, that every moment is present and that you should respect every single thing you do. We see this innocent character, this person, and his journey to the end is very tragic. And it's a very real journey that he's experienced. And if we link it to times right now, there's people who are living these stories.
It's a really important thing to anybody to remember that every country has been rebuilt or saved by people that were not from this country at the beginning. So also it's relating with the life that we have now, that it means it's accepting people from everywhere.